Yu Haibara was a cheerful and gifted sorcerer in training at Jujutsu High, known for his positive outlook and strong bond with his classmate, Kinto Nanami. The two were set on what was assumed to be a standard mission to eliminate a Grade 2 curse, but things took a tragic turn when they discovered the target was actually a far more powerful entity, likely a Grade 1 curse tied to a local deity. During the confrontation, Haibara sustained fatal injuries. Though the final wound was concealed beneath a blanket, appearing to strike his abdomen, the visible gashes across his face indicated that his death was brutal and violent. Nanami, who was by his side during the aftermath, was left devastated, having been unable to protect his friend. Haibara's death left a lasting scar on Nanami, leading him to temporarily step away from the world of sorcery and contributing to the cold, stoic personality he carried in the years that followed. Kokichi Muta. Kokichi Muta, known by his codename Mekamaru, was born with a heavenly restriction that granted him massive cursed energy but left his real body weak, immobile, and in constant pain. Desperate to escape his physical suffering and live a normal life, Kokichi struck a secret deal with Mahito, betraying Jujutsu High in exchange for a functioning body, made possible through idle transfiguration. Once granted his wish, Kokichi intended to turn against Mahito and atone for his betrayal, but things did not go as planned. Despite putting up a fierce fight using his newly restored body, he was ultimately outmatched. While the exact moments of his death is not shown, Mahito's typical method of dispatching enemies, using idle transfiguration to violently warp their bodies, suggests that Kokichi was likely killed in a gruesome instant. His body detonated on contact. All that remained was his enormous puppet, broken and stained with blood, marking the tragic end of someone who only ever wanted to live freely. Naobito Zenin. Naobito Zenin, the patriarch of the Zenin clan, was a highly skilled sorcerer, revered for his masterful use of projection sorcery. During the chaos of the Shibuya incident, Naobito joined forces with Maki and Nanami to take on the powerful cursed spirit Dagon. Despite his age, Naobito held his own in the intense fight, and played a vital part in Dagon's defeat. But just as the group caught their breaths, Jogo entered the battlefield. Already badly wounded and missing an arm from the earlier clash, Naobito was unable to dodge Jogo's devastating fire-based attack. The blast engulfed him, leaving his upper body horrifically burned, his skin charred and melted away almost entirely. Miraculously, he clung to life for a short while, but the extensive damage eventually claimed him. His death was especially gruesome, as he survived for days with life-threatening burns across his entire upper half, enduring unthinkable pain before finally passing.
And really quick, if you enjoy these no-nonsense, straight-to-the-point videos covering all sorts of anime topics, then make sure to like this video and subscribe. But anyway,
Mimiko and Nanako Hasaba. Mimiko and Nanako Hasaba were twin curse users who had been rescued as children by Suguru Geto after he slaughtered the villagers who abused and locked them away. Deeply devoted to Geto, the sisters remained by his side, using their curse abilities to support him in his crusade against the Jujutsu world. But after Geto's death and his body possession by Kenjaku, the twins turned to Sukuna in a desperate plea for vengeance. The request was met with cold indifference. Sukuna, irritated by their persistence, responded with brutal force. He casually flicked his finger, instantly obliterating Mimiko's head in a single blow. Nanako's fate was even more horrifying. She was forced to witness her sister's violent end before Sukuna unleashed his wrath, tearing her apart into countless chunks of flesh. Their deaths were not only physically savage, but emotionally crushing, ending the lives of two girls who had already endured so much. Haruta Shigemo. Haruta Shigemo was a twisted and cruel curse user who thrived on inflicting pain, often targeting weaker opponents during the Shibuya incident just for the fun of it. His survival against more powerful enemies was largely thanks to his curse technique, Miracles, which allowed him to store and activate life-saving miracles through the tattoos beneath his eyes. After barely surviving an encounter with Nanami, Shigemo continued his rampage until he eventually came face to face with Megumi, and ultimately Sukuna. Once Sukuna had finished dealing with Mahoraga, he turned his attention to Shigemo and executed him without hesitation, slicing him cleanly in half. What makes this death so visually disturbing is that the cut split Shigemo's body from front to back, separating his face and chest from the rear half of his body. The result was a deeply grotesque and likely excruciating end, made all the more brutal by the sheer speed and violence of Sukuna's attack. Kinto Nanami. Kinto Nanami was a